These are the three things I wish I knew before my first ayahuasca ceremony. I want to share with you exactly things that nobody told me about that would have made a big, very big difference in my experience with plant medicine. So let's start. Number one, preparation is just as important as integration. What I mean by this is that plant medicine, a lot of people talk about the diet before. The foods you can eat, the foods you shouldn't eat, things you should and shouldn't do. But very few people really highlight the importance of keeping that for at least 2 or 3 weeks after your ceremony. Some of the shamans here in Colombia, they say that the post-care is even more important than what you did before. They say that the work that you did before is necessary just for you to not struggle so much when you receive the medicine. But the work after is necessary so that that fragile seed that was planted inside of you has a chance at sprouting. So that all your lessons that you carry with you, the insights, the healing, can have a solid chance at being lasting changes. So it's very important that with the same intensity, love, and discipline that you're taking care of how you're eating, what you're consuming on social media, sex, substances, and all of these things, with the same intensity and impeccability, you pay attention to how you are and what you do after a ceremony. Because after a ceremony, the plant is inside of you. And what this means is that your sensitivity is increased. You're a lot more conscious. And if you do something that is not bad but useless for you, if you do something that is taking you in the opposite direction of where you want to go, but now you have more energy in your system, now you're more conscious, you're going to dig yourself into a deeper hole. So number one, prepare the best that you can, and most importantly, integrate, makes time to spend just as long to take care of your body, take care of what you consume, take care of your sexual habits or your substance use. All right? So that's number one. Number two, I wish somebody told me that ayahuasca will give me the experience, will give you the experience that you need, not necessarily what you want. Sometimes it will do a little bit of both, but most importantly, what you need. What this means is that a lot of people come and they want a very sublime experience. They have heard that you can die and see God and talk to nature and you see the spirits of the land and you hear voices and you receive downloads and visions and insights and teachings. Not to say this cannot happen. It does happen, but not for everybody and not all the time. Tell you a quick story. There was a woman that came to a retreat and she drank medicine the first 3 days and she was very frustrated, very angry, she was very resentful, she felt misled, a little bit betrayed by our team because she was not having the experience that she thought she was going to have. She felt that she was going to have a very enlightening, beautiful, loving experience and she was revisiting old trauma. Whereas a lot of these nights she was just sitting in a lot of anger and frustration because the person next to her is being a bit too loud, because she doesn't like the music, because she doesn't understand the music, because of many reasons. She was sitting just in anger her whole ceremony, expecting for her experience to be different. And then when I came to her and I asked her, okay, it makes sense that you're feeling this way, but tell me something. What did you come to work on this retreat? She said, well, I'm very impatient and I have a lot of anger and it has cost me a lot of relationships and I want to change that. And I looked at her and I asked, okay, so you're here to work on your patience and your anger. She said, yeah. And I told her, you have been feeling nothing but impatient and angry these days. And she went quiet. Because in that moment she understood that the medicine was bringing up those emotions that she wanted to work for her to actually pay attention to them. It was just not bringing them up in the way that she imagined arbitrarily they should come. So tip number 2, trust your experience. If you're not having an experience, that is your experience. This has happened many times. It has happened to me as well, that I have high expectations and suddenly I'm sitting in frustration. And sometimes that ceremony is an invitation to refine your capacity for attention, to connect to something subtle, to really be present, or to really connect to your body and your breath. So trust the experience that you have an intention, but do not be attached to how it's going to show up. Now, the tip number 3, and this may be the most important, is choose the right place to do this. The very first time that I went to ceremony was with a very respected shaman here in Colombia. I will not say his name, but it was in a cottage. Nobody told me that it was going to be outside of the cottage by the edge of the house, that I should bring mattress, pillows, sleeping bag, blankets, a warm coat, and so on. So I came with a t-shirt, and it was up in the mountains. I had a very bad night. In that place, they did not give you a bucket for your purge. So if you felt like vomiting, you just had to find a place in the garden or in nature to do it. The bathrooms were not very clean. There was no toilet paper. Everything. There was lack of structure, lack of organization. So I came up, nobody cared about how I prepared, nobody cared about the experience that I had, which was a very awful one and very difficult. Nobody cared about what happened afterwards. Nobody really cared about the house, about making sure that the people that came had a basic level of comfort. It's not that this is a vacation or a luxurious experience. It is not. You're in nature, you're traveling to Colombia to go deep within yourself. But there's some very basic needs that must be met in order for you to be able to relax and lean into the experience. I tried different places when I drank the medicine until I found this one where I'm sitting in front of today. And I realized that, for me at least, and for people who have been in this path for long enough, doing and drinking ayahuasca in someone's house or someone's cottage may be okay in the best case scenarios, but very often it's not a good idea. Especially if in that house they don't have a sort of energetic hygiene with the spaces. When you drink ayahuasca, you become hyper conscious, which means you're more connected to your environment. And if you're in nature, that is beautiful because nature will teach you. Nature is a frequency that remains in harmony no matter how much man touches it. A tree will always be a tree. It's free from ego, or the ego that nature has is very, very, very subtle, almost non-existent. So when you connect and you deepen your consciousness in a space like this, it nourishes you. It supports your journey. However, I have had times when I drank medicine in someone's house and the place was not properly taken care of. And then suddenly I'm feeling things that don't feel mine. I'm seeing things that feel very heavy, very dark. I'm having memories that I don't think are mine. And I start realizing that it feels like there's just a lot of the owners of the house in space. Or if they run a lot of ceremonies, then there's a lot of past retreat participants in that area, and that was affecting my own experience. Not to say that it's impossible to have a good and a meaningful experience in those places, but if it's your first time, you want to do everything you can to support a deep and safe journey. And this means you prepare properly and you make sure that you integrate properly. It also means that you trust the experience that you're having. You come with an intention, but you trust what the medicine gives you. And number 3, you find a place that is safe, that you can trust, where there's a basic level of comfort, at least provided, ideally in nature. I hope this was useful to you. If you have additional tips and you've already drunk plant medicine, please post them below. If you're thinking about doing your first ceremony and you have any additional questions, post them here. I would love to answer any questions. This channel is meant to be educational. And of course, if you're just in your research phase, You're invited to come and sit in medicine and drink medicine with us. Most of the time we sit, we explore with a person what do they need, what's their intention, how can we best accompany them, and we help them with integration. At the same time, we have a place here that has been kept in a very pristine and impeccable way when it comes to the energies, deep into the mountain forest, an hour outside Medellin, Colombia. So you're open, find the link in the comments, find a retreat that you like. We have different options for different budgets, different times, and I hope to see you here. I love you and have a great day.